Welcome to another edition of the Recruiting Scoop. I'm Jarret Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe, man, this edition of the Recruiting Scoop is going to be your favorite subject, Texas Tech basketball. Look, everything's kind of sped up with the season, the postseason being canceled. So they're already, Chris Beard and his staff are not one to sit around and take advantage of the lockdown and do nothing. They're recruiting. They're recruiting hard. There's several transfer candidates that they've already reached out to. It's already out there on Twitter, and also that we've confirmed. Who are some of these guys, these targets that the Red Raiders are reaching out to, Joe?
Yeah, first guy that comes to mind is Kevin Marfo out of Quinnipiac. 6'8", 225, 230, big man.
Listed at 245.
245. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
People, I've seen some people say it reminds him a little bit of Norrance Odiase.
Yeah, he's that size.
That's not a bad comparison. He's a strictly kind of an inside bruiser kind of a guy. He's got a really, really good athleticism. Everybody is, including me and you, complained about how Tech guys didn't finish strong inside. And just were too weak in there, and that's not the case with Marfo. He gets the rock and it's going in the hole, or he's getting fouled, and he's going to try to throw it down, and he does it on a very regular basis.
He's got music to Red Raider sports, the fans' ears here.
Something like that would have really, really helped this past year. So he really fits the bill there, and he's got just enough ability to put the ball on the floor that he can create a little space inside for himself. He doesn't just have to catch it and turn and dunk. Okay. He can move within the block a little bit and put it on the floor and create some opportunities for himself as well. Really, really good in that regard. Shoots a lot of free throws, 71% free throw shooter, not bad for a guy his size.
So about 10 points, almost 14 rebounds a game, right?
Huge rebounder, yeah, that's right, and good shot blocker too. He blocks 1.5 shots per game. He would probably be my top guy. Wow. Another guy that they're looking at is Eric Stevenson, transfer out of Wichita State, sort of a combo guard kind of a guy. And if you look at him, his stroke is a thing of beauty. You look at it and you figure this guy should be shooting kind of like Moretti or Ramsey or something like that,
So I was going to say, could this be a possible replacement for Morrow if he doesn't return? Yeah. Just hypothetically.
I think they're looking for somebody to be a threat from out there, and this guy would be it. Now, his shooting numbers were not quite as good as you would expect just by looking at his stroke, but that can be improved. He should be shooting it even better than he was at Wichita State, and he didn't do poorly there. Yeah. But aside from that ability to hit the outside shot, he's got really good athleticism. He can score in the mid-range as well. He's a pretty good rebounder, and he's about 6'3", 200. He looks and plays bigger than that. I would be really high on him as well. And then the third main guy is Landers Nolly out of Virginia Tech, who's kind of a swing man, 6'7", 225, 230, something like that. Can play off guard, small forward, the prototypical Chris Beard sort of a player in that regard. And he's a guy who gets his shot off from the outside quite well. He can also get to the second level, has a respectable mid-range game. And at his size, he can finish through contact. He's pretty physical and do some things there as well. And another guy that really gets to the free throw line a lot. Good. Shoots the free throw a great deal and shoots at 78%, and that could even improve. I've got a feeling that's one of the big selling points for Chris Beard and his guys is the fact that he gets to the free throw line so often. They place a big emphasis on that. Yeah. And so he would be excellent in that regard.
All right. And Joe, taking a step back, just philosophically, there's been some thought of, okay, maybe Chris Beard should step away from the grad transfer market. Maybe, they're recruiting so well in the high school ranks. This last year, the grad transfers didn't really work out. I think for both them or for Tech, the way perhaps most people hoped and expected. So what are your thoughts on obviously, because they're still going, it's obvious that they're going to continue in the transfer market. It's the first thing they've done since the season ended is contact several transfers. So what do you think about that philosophy?
Well, if Tech continues to get these one-and-done players, or two-and-done players even, right, which they're certainly able to do right now, and if they're able to continue that, then you're in a situation where your roster is going to be sort of continually depleted in terms of experience.
Yes.
Okay, because you're just not going to have a lot of guys that are sticking around 4 years like in the old days. So then the question becomes, where do you get that veteran leadership and experience? So it seems to me that you need graduate transfers if you're going to have a lot of one and done and two and done players.
Yes.
So I think those two things kind of dovetail and go together. And so if that's the route that Texas Tech is going to go and is able to go in terms of high school recruiting, then you need these grad transfers. And just because you kind of washed out a little bit with Chris Clark and Holyfield, you hit big time with Mooney and Owens. So, I mean, you just got to do the best job you can do in finding the right guys.
Yeah, I mean, you don't make that Final Four run without those two guys. You don't win the Big 12 title. And I agree with you. It would make for probably more interesting watch if we disagreed, if I played devil's advocate here. But honestly, I agree so strongly with you on that point that I think you have to have that experience. If you don't have tangible experience on your roster making plays at the end of the game, you get a record like you got this past season,
Yes.
So I'm glad they're doing it. I'm intrigued by the guys they've already reached out to, and we'll be following that, tracking where they are in those recruitments. We'll have updates for you continually on Inside the Red Raiders. Mighty Joe, great stuff from you as always. Thank y'all for watching, and until next time.